Hi everybody, it's Karen Gardinier. How are you? Question and answer day. Someone asked me, how can you really let go and walk through the grief of losing someone when it's your adult addict child? And I think what they meant was, how do I let go of somebody that's still alive? How can I grieve this? It's really grieving is what it is you're grieving. You've got an adult child who's drinking and using, and it is sad, and I'm sorry. And, it's very difficult, and I know you feel like you need to fix it. And a lot of that might be guilt. Maybe they're throwing guilt on you that this is your fault. If you could have done this or been that, blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit. Just tell you right now, that's bullshit. You could have been a stay-at-home mom with $1 million in the bank and bake cookies every day. And an alcoholic is going to be an alcoholic. They are born with it. It's a mental illness. They can blame it on you all they want. Not your fault. Okay? If you could have done better, you would have. You didn't. You didn't know. Okay, what do you do now? First thing, we all have a story. Even your kids. So your kids, if we were to hover over a therapy group with your kid in it, they would either be complaining because you were not a caring enough parent, or you smothered them. You were overbearing, or you were too distant. Do you see what I mean? It is what it is. You did the best you could do. They're going to do with it what they are going to do. And if they're alcoholic, they're going to blame you. Okay? It's not your fault. I don't even care if you tell me, well, it is my fault because I married someone and he was an alcoholic and there was booze in the house. No. If your child is born an alcoholic, you could have had, I was raised in a booze-free home. There was no booze in the house. Right? And I found a way. You know what I mean? So stop that right now. The next thing is, this is not 1939 when Alcoholics Anonymous first started. This is 2022, and there is a lot of help available. In fact, the days of treatment centers are over, especially since the pandemic. People are getting sober right now online. Right? And I know it can be done because, first thing, I've seen it be done. I've helped people get sober that I've never met online who have detoxed with the help of their doctor at home during the pandemic when no treatment center was available or open. I've seen it happen. Now, in 1939, when they started the big book, people were getting sober by mail. Mail, snail mail, and I mean snail mail, like Paul Revere is still delivering this mail. I know Paul Revere didn't. Don't comment that Paul Revere didn't deliver mail. I already know that. I'm just saying, the horse and buggy times of mail. I mean, mail was not moving around quickly like now. And people would write and say, oh my God, I heard you have some kind of solution for alcoholism. We need it here in Timbuktu. And so someone would get the letter and read it and then write back to Timbuktu and put the steps in there, or the book as it was at the time, and fold it up, put it back in the snail mail, and send it back for 2-3 weeks to get to them. And then they'd open it up and read it. And then they'd ask a question and write it, fold it up and put it back in the Paul Revere's bag. And off you would go by horse. You know what I mean? Not that bad, but you get the point. Now we're like online, everything's available, there's help, there's, oh my God, there's groups, there's help. You could go to TikTok and get sober. There's so many movements of sobriety since that pandemic hit. There's mental health help. There's things that were never available. Why weren't they available? Because we didn't have to have them available. I mean, even now you can do these telemedic appointments with your doctor. I mean, what a break that is, instead of going and sitting there and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then you go in that little room and it's cold and you're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And he comes in, he goes, how's everything, Karen? Oh, everything's been great. Good. We'll see you in 6 months. We'll see you next year. Are you kidding me? That was 2 hours out of my life I'll never get back. Now I can be at home. I've got the time. He can call. We look at each other. I say, hey, everything's good. What's your blood pressure? It was great today. I'm good. Blah, 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 blah. Come and see me if you need me. I mean, it's beautiful. It just could not be easier to get sober. And yet you have an adult child that can't get sober. So why can't they get sober? Are you helping too much? You know, I used to say when I ran that treatment center that if we could open treatment centers, if the insurance companies would open treatment centers for the family and friends of the alcoholic, and we could tell them, this is what alcoholism is, and this is why your helping is actually making things worse. And if you could leave them alone and back up and let them have their own consequences, whatever they are, they will get better faster because they will hit bottom faster, right? I used to say that all the time. We should have treatment centers for the Al-Anons, because that self-care that you give yourself is going to force them to take care of themselves. But when you're taking care of them, why would they get better? If someone is going to let you sleep in their basement and they feed you and they give you money for cigarettes, why would you change? You wouldn't. You know, and I know that's hard. That feels against everything that love is. But love is really wanting someone to survive. Love is really wanting someone to develop and grow as a person in their own life experience. Now, a lot of times as parents, we take our own life experience and we don't want our child to go through what we went through. That is ridiculous. You can't control what their story is going to be. Leave them be. God gave them to you to birth them. Maybe that's it. Like my birth mother birthed me and then gave me to another family. Their job was to keep me alive. It wasn't even to educate me. It was to keep me safe, fed, so that I could grow up. That's really the minimal. I mean, really. And at that point, that job is done. I am an adult person and I wanted to remain a child. And my mom wanted me to remain a child, right? And it was cozy and it was dysfunctional as hell, right? So you have to understand that your child is now another human being on the planet and you need to get out of their business. And if that means grieving the loss of them, then grieve the loss of them. If you have to pretend like they are dead and never speak to them again because you can't handle the up and down of them getting sober and relapsing, whatever you have to do, you're going to figure that out in Al-Anon. You're going to go to Al-Anon, you're going to take care of yourself. But you're going to leave them. Hopefully you're going to be able to love them and have tolerance for them as a sick person without getting involved. It's an art. It's an art for sure. Easier said than done. It takes practice and it takes support of other people that are doing it. Can't do it by yourself. So what I want to say is what I say to people. If you have an adult child and you're talking to me about, I'm worried because he doesn't have a job and he's not working and he should be working. You know what? How old is he? He's an adult. She's an adult. They're big people now. They need to suffer consequences. No consequences, no change. Okay? So you need to back up. You need to back up. And if that means grieving to you, I think that's extreme, because I think that, they could get well once you back up. And then you're going to have to deal with the feelings of, how come it didn't work when I tried to tell him, right? How come I wasn't able to help him? All my love, right? So that's why you got to work on you, because it really has very little to do with them once you think about it. It's how you're responding. So I don't know if that helped you at all. What it's supposed to have done is encourage you to get your own recovery going and leave people alone. Get in your own hula hoop. Stay out of their hula hoop. Watch the show. Don't be the show. And I'm telling you what, you will take a nap, get something to eat, and you'll feel like $1,000,000 because you don't have to worry about them anymore. They're not your responsibility. They're grown adults. Okay? You can love them and you can be sad, but you don't have to give up your soul because their path is different than what you wanted. Okay? Just understand they have their own path. God has a path for them. All right? I love you. Bye, guys.